Hey everyone, this is Austin Schur here with We Write About Music, and today I am speaking with Brian and Scott of Lola Vain. They have just released a fantastic new track called Dirty, Filthy, Crazy, and I'm super excited to talk to them all about it. Brian and Scott, thank you so much for coming on today. How are you? What's new?
Good. Thanks for having us, Austin.
Yes,
You're
thanks.
very welcome.
This is in fact this is our first live interview I think we've ever done.
Oh,
Yeah.
amazing. Well, then I'll go as easy as possible and throw some
Yeah.
softball questions out there. No, no, we're talking about music. It's not going to get that complicated, I
Sure.
promise. Well, I do want to hop right into it here. You've got this new song out, which I love, and I mentioned that I've listened to it a ton of times at this point. First thing I would love to know is what is it about and what inspired it?
Uh, I'll say Brian's probably got an explanation on his side too. But
Sure.
basically, what we wrote the song about is, well, the lyrics that came up with on this is just to have a good time when you're out with your significant other or just a friend or whoever, that you're having this time that that may building memories. You're out and having a good time, so it's the funner side of the relationship, whoever that might be that you're having out and you're out in the town with. So that's
Yeah.
Okay.
basic gist of it.
I think you're right, and you'll find probably as we get into conversation here that I for a long time I was wondering, is it time to have fun again? You know what I mean? And
Sure.
because it was such a weird time when we got together, and when Scott came to me with this song, at first I was kind of like, I don't think so, man. It's like it's not the right time for this, and and then as we started building it, it was like this is pretty cool. This is great,
I
and
agree.
a lot of fun. You know what I mean? And so that's the vibe. And sometimes, like I've said before, I got to get out of my own way sometimes. You know to to be able to share something like this with everyone. It's pretty cool.
Well, was this in the works for a while? It sounds like.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Scott had the idea. Geez, it was probably about a year ago, and he sent me a video, and you're probably going to get into about our process, but he sent me a video of him singing the chorus and some of the verse lines, and then I wasn't sure. I was like, I don't know. And he's like, what do you think? I was like, I'm not sure. And then we started working it up, and it took on this life that was it became something that was really kind of fun, almost like a carnival kind of atmosphere, and kind of like our other song too, I'm Alive, which is the same good time party, hang out, get together again, that type of thing. So yeah, it's this song came out really, really cool, I think.
Nice. Well, it's just the amount of fun that everyone needs right now. I'm sure it would have worked a year ago, but it works just as great today. I'm glad that it's finally out
It's
there
hard to
into the
it's hard
world.
to gauge that too, like how
True.
much fun do people want to have right now? It seems to me,
Sure.
like people are like, just let's get on with it, man. Let's get together.
Yeah. I think people are biting at the bit to get out there and do anything. I mean, we're seeing a million concerts being announced and tons of festivals, and every weekend there's something happening. So, yeah, why not have this song as your anthem for the time that you're going out, you know?
For sure, for sure.
Absolutely.
Absolutely. So, Brian, you mentioned that you're located in Arizona, and Scott, you are in Nashville. I would love to know how the dynamic works between the two of you. Like, how are you making music?
Uh, it's an awesome opportunity. The cool thing about technology nowadays is that you don't have to be in the same spot to do anything.
Right.
So that's the awesome thing about it. And the cool thing too, that Brian is able, like if I'm working always, he kind of gave you a little bit of a taste of it there, but I'll sit with the acoustic guitar here in this room here actually, and I'll start strumming around, get an idea of a melody that usually comes in, usually like a lyrical pop-up, and I don't know if it's going to be usable or not, but it seems to sometimes stick. And the case of these two songs actually that we're talking about, I'm Alive and Dirty Filthy Crazy, both of them kind of came to me that way, and then I thought, wow, let's see how that works out into the song. um so I started just playing around with the melody and getting that down, and the chorus came to me right away. That was the first thing to come to me,
Sure.
and then had to work the verse secondly. But what I did is I got that to the chorus, I mean, and the verse together, an idea, and I sent that to Brian on acoustic. And so Brian, what he does is he hears that, like he said, and he goes, all right, let me see what I can do to put a beat to it. And the cool thing about him, he thinks like a drummer. I mean, the guy that I record out here with, Bobby Huff, great. We'll get into him a little bit later, but he even gave him a compliment. He's like, it doesn't sound like a guitar player did this. It sounds like a drummer did this. And he was really stoked
Sure.
to that Brian's got those skills. And so Brian will hear the beat and he'll send it back to me and go, what do you think of the tempo and everything like that? So the good thing about being live together in the same room, the hardest thing, is getting that right rhythm down, getting the beat to be it, or the groove to be there. And so
Sure.
that's why you get a lot of bands that'll play live in the studio. Well, with him, he's like a drummer that, that can just, do the skills there and send them to me. And I'll go, that's the tempo, or that's not the tempo. Let's speed it up. So we'll go back and forth on that. Then he'll lay some guitar tracks down, send it back to me. I'll record vocals. So we're doing that the whole way through till the song's finished. And then once we get the idea down, we do have like Ken Mary that'll jump in and lay down the drum tracks.
Sure.
And then as well as
Chris
Catero, yes, Chris Catero.
Nice. So this is really just like a US based project of everyone contributing all over the place. Sounds like, at least.
It is. It's funny you say that too, because when we first started writing together, it was just kind of like, hey, let's just see what happens, and
Sure.
And then after things started coming together, it's like, oh shit, we're a band, it sounds like, and we're gonna have to figure that out, and
exactly.
So we're going to be putting together a live band and hopefully getting out next year. You know what I mean?
That's awesome. Have you had the opportunity to actually create together in the same room?
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay. Cool.
We did on I'm Alive. Scott flew down here to my studio, and we cut the vocals here for that song.
Nice.
And so yeah, we've had that opportunity to sit in the same room, but it's hard because of how far apart we live from each other.
Absolutely. Well, what's your guys' relationship like? Are you friends? Are you brothers? Or like what's
Yeah, we're like soulmates now.
Soulmates, that's even better.
Scott calls me every day without fail.
I love that.
Just to check on me, make sure I'm all right.
Listen, I hope to have that kind of friendship, 50, 60, 70 years from now. Like that's the type of person you want around.
Yeah, we've known each other for a while. Even before this, we've done some work in some other projects together. So
Gotcha.
yeah, I've known Scott for a while now.
Actually,
Very, very
if you
cool.
really want to go back to like we were in bands when we first started out playing music back in the 80s, late 80s, like
Awesome.
early, we were just kids back then,
That's right. That's right. Yeah, you were in like a rival band, weren't you?
Yeah, he was playing with my buddy Norm and in this band called what was that? Ruckus.
Ruckus.
Yes. Yes. And
That's
I was in this band
with 2 Ks, by the way.
Yes.
Where did you grow up?
Arizona.
Oh, in Arizona. Okay.
Yeah.
And now you're in Nashville. Gotcha.
Yeah. So I just moved out here in 20 at the beginning before the COVID thing hit. So luckily but then everything shut down. So it's kind of weird, but to be here in a new state where you can't really explore around too much, but it's cool. We're past that now, but the cool thing too is like, I've known Brian all this time, and we have some mutual friends that we got linked back up together to do some like cover stuff.
Okay.
And I'm like, Brian, what do you think of this riff, man? And I played him I'm Alive and sang him the vocals. Send me that like right when we leave here. I like that. And that's how it started.
Love that. So, I mean, looking forward, I don't know what the plan is for releases. I assume that there's more on the way, but do you have any plans to experiment, try new things? It sounds like you're already trying new things on this single compared to the last.
Yeah, we have a third single that's going to drop right after the new year. It's called Merry Go Round, and I think our publicist Gina Giuliano summed it up. She said that you guys are diverse. Like we can do a hard rock song, we can do kind of an 80s big huge jam like Dirty Filthy Crazy. We do Merry Go Round, which is another different kind of feel and style. I don't want to give too much away.
I don't want to push you to say too much.
No, but yeah, so we're the process takes time, obviously, because we live apart from each other. It takes us several weeks to put something together. So But this new song has been mixed and mastered, the third single mixed and mastered, and we'll release that right after Christmas.
Got it. So for
Yeah.
the person that hasn't listened to this song, I would say that there's a lot of different styles and genres infused into one. If you had to give an elevator pitch or just kind of describe it to someone, how would you call it? What would you say?
I would say it's other than being a fun rock song, where you're using the classic roots that we all grew up on. So our influences come from everything, you know, at least on my side. I see Brian has the same similar influences as well, but mine are like Queen, you know, Led Zeppelin, all the 70s, cool 70s stuff,
Sure.
like Bad Company and Styx. That's what I grew up on, the Eagles. And in the 80s, you know, I loved all the good stuff in the 80s, you know, that was around from, you know, I don't know, like Bon Jovi and those kind of bands, Journey, things
Yeah.
like that. You know, the 80s stuff from the Journey side, but a lot of that kind of stuff involved with our music as well, here and there. And then 70s pull from is a lot of it. And then we just um like to be diverse for a reason,
Yeah.
because Queen, you know, if you think about Queen, for instance, they had Bohemian Rhapsody,
Right.
then they had Fat Bottom Girls, and then they had another one, Bites of Dust. That's kind of our take on music. It's like we don't like pigeonholed into
No.
one thing, and nowadays you can get away with more diversity, so we love that.
Oh, 100%. With the future that we're in and just in terms of production, like I don't think any band is making just rock music or just
Yeah,
pop music.
there's all kinds of little Easter eggs in Dirty Filthy
Totally.
Crazy. If you're a producer or musician, I mean, there's like 10 tracks of arpeggiated key, like synthesizers.
Sure.
There's Hammond B3. There's shakers, and but it's just all kinds of different elements.
Right.
And Scott's really good at that. He'll call me up like, how if we had let's add some bells, or let's add, you know,
Totally.
shakers or something, and I'm like, I don't know, it seems like we're really dense, and then it ends up coming out really great. So I've learned to trust his judgment when it comes to
No,
adding.
that's great. And
Yeah.
that's why I would urge everyone to listen to this with a nice pair of headphones or on a nice sound system. Like, it's not the type of song that you just pop on your laptop speakers, because there's so much happening that you could miss out. So don't miss out.
Sure.
Now, I do want to go
Yeah.
back to what you said about actually getting out on the road and touring and playing shows. So I assume the first part is getting a live band together. Do you have any idea what a set might look like for you guys as you continue to release new music?
Well, hopefully, we have some more songs developed before the end of the year
Sure.
here. We plan on at least getting the 6 of ours, you know, hopefully recorded before we come out. I mean, that unless something pops up and we have to do something before then we've got a couple from previous projects that we've been in, both Brian and I, that we can add in that we think are pretty kosher with the songs we've been writing that'll fit in there. And so I think we could at least do a 30 to 45-minute set. So if we do like festival stuff, it'll be like quick in and out, like 30 minutes or so, 40. So we'll definitely be able to cover that ground, I think.
Nice.
You know.
Any covers potentially? It's always fun to bring a crowd
Come on,
together.
Scott, you know we're gonna do a cover or two, right?
Yeah,
You
yeah. We'll probably
gotta.
we and Brian have been throwing around this cover idea of like a couple of them. One was what's that one that we keep talking? It's like I'm drawing a blank on it. The girls song, you know what I'm talking about?
What band is
That's the part I'm trying to think of.
it?
We've got a couple of covers, but they're
Yeah.
classics, you know, from
Sure.
from way back, you know, but nothing new or anything that's out there currently, of
That's
course.
okay.
But you definitely be our take on it. I'll come back to that on that one.
It's
No
not
worries.
not to say that we wouldn't be against covering something that's newer, you know, but
Yeah.
it just depends.
It's your set. You do whatever
Yeah.
makes you happy.
Right.
Like, that's
sure.
what it's all about. In terms of actually making the music, is there somewhere along the entire process that gets you the most energized, the thing that you most look forward to when finishing or even starting a song?
I'm going to jump in, Scott, just real quick. It's that moment usually when we get kind of the foundation laid, and even if there's just a drum track and a rhythm guitar track, and Scott, even just a scratch vocal, you can start to see what it's going to become. You're like, this is a good base that we've got here. We can build on this, you know. And so yeah, that's when I get excited. I'm like, okay, this thing that started out as a small thing is turning into a big thing, and
Sure.
I mean, it sounds big, and it's going to be huge, you know, huge sounding, you know.
Of course, that makes sense.
Yeah, I agree with that. It's the building process of it that makes you excited, and when
Right.
you get it done. Another thing that I do too is, you know, the whole time I've been with Brian working on these, I bounce stuff off of my buddy Jamie, who's, you know, bass player, been in the videos with us, and I'll bounce ideas off of him, and he'll come up with an idea on a lyric thing, and he'll throw it back at me. So he's had a couple lyrics here in our songs too that have made it onto our stuff. And you know, we're looking at forward as far as like down the road. We'll see, you know, when we get this band together and we're putting it together, you know, he's one of on our list to be out there to go for the live thing. So and you'll get to see him, but at the same time, you know, it's cool to bounce stuff off of people when we're creating, because we really don't know if it's you know, going to be hitting people at all levels, you know. So it's cool to get some
Sure.
feedback. So that's a cool thing that I like to do. Brian does it too, to his wife at home there. She bounces. I would go, I always ask him, did she like it? He goes, yeah, she gave the thumbs up.
She's a good gauge.
That's
For
good.
you to know if we're on the right track or not, you know.
Now, as long as she's honest, there's too many yes people out there that just
Oh
nod
no,
their
she would
head
tell
and-
she would tell
Okay.
me, she'd be like, that song's stupid, and she's done that before. Yeah,
That's what you look for in a wife. Absolutely.
for sure.
I have a few more for you, and you've already given me an idea of what the next year is looking like, but I would love to know, like, what are some lofty goals that you'd like to hit, hopefully by next December?
I'd like us to have a live show together and out playing would be nice. That I know that seems like we should be able to do that within a year. It'd be nice to see if we can get some type of love from a record label potentially, or at least some financial help. It's astronomically expensive to launch a band, and if I could give any advice to people out there, don't underestimate the amount of time and effort and money that you have to put into promoting. And number one, have a good song, but number two, have promotion. Like, and you need to do it. And so yeah, so we're self-financed right now, and I think we have something cool that you know, a label might bite on for sure, potentially.
Nice.
Yeah. And you know, another thing too is that we really put, this is one thing we haven't really talked about much. We really put the time into making sure the songs are coming out great. That is the number one thing. The song is the foundation that everything's laid upon. So it's like the rock that you stand on. So that has to be solid. We don't want to spit out anything. We could easily spit out a record full of tunes and have it out there, but we would probably gone too fast and not be able to create what we really want to. The nice thing about this is we can sit back and really analyze what we're doing, because again, we feel like that's why the songs are coming out as strong as they are, in our opinion, is because of the fact that you know, we're putting the time into making sure they're great.
That's a great point, Scott, that you hit on there, is that there is some beauty in not being unencumbered by a record label, meaning we can take the time. We have a full studio here at my house. Scott has people in Nashville that he works with, some really good producers, and we're self-financed, so we're not having to answer to anybody, and we can take the time that needs to be taken to make sure the songs are great, you
I
know.
love that. I mean, yeah, the attention to detail shows. So keep doing what you're doing there.
Thank you.
Um, do you find that the music that you listen to in your day-to-day lives has any impact on the music that you're making?
Oh my God, yes.
Yeah.
That's
Absolutely.
right.
In what ways? Like, who do you listen to? Who would be like an influence to this music?
Oh man, like it's so weird because Scott and I may be different on this. I mean, I don't know how much new music, Scott, you listen to, but I listen to all kinds of new, all across genres, and I get influence from that. But from bands back in the day that inspired me, I was thinking. I mean, obviously, I'm a huge AC/DC fan, and
Sure.
for me, if I could write every song to sound like AC/DC, I probably would, just because I love that band that much.
Of course.
But obviously that's not gonna translate very well. But I was thinking of other bands that I really love too. I really love the Tubes, like they're big, the Cars, like
Sure.
just really kind of cool, like hooky kind of pop rock stuff. I'm really Def Leppard,
Yeah.
absolutely, without a doubt. It just, and even John Cougar, Mellencamp, that's John Mellencamp, sorry. But
No worries.
it just good big kind of rock songs that hooked you in.
Yeah, completely agree. I hear that influence.
Yeah, for sure.
I did remember that cover that we're talking about, and Brian loves this one too.
Cool.
So this came back, then I'll give you my take on what
Sure,
Brian was
sure.
saying. I got a new girl now.
Oh
So-
yeah,
Okay.
Honeymoon Suite.
Sweet. There we go.
Yeah.
Yes. I knew it had girl and I just couldn't remember what it was, but I got a new girl now. That's a great song that, really would be cool to remake and make it, ours.
Yeah.
As far as influences and stuff that, that I listen to get rolling, it's everything. Like Brian's, I like AC/DC. Tom Petty's a huge one for me. He
Sure.
made simple songs great,
Yeah.
so I listened to a lot of Tom Petty. As far as new cats, there's one I really like. It's out here in Nashville. I want to give them a plug because they are definitely one that we want to hook up and do some shows with. It's Tuck Smith and the Restless Hearts. Have you heard of
Okay.
them?
No.
He used to have a band called the Biters, and he's starting to take off and be really cool to be, riding with them. At least if we're on their coattail, that would be great too. I mean, they're doing some great things, and they are putting out some good classic. I would like to call this, like, what I'm starting to see. There's a lot of websites popping up now. They call this the new classic rock. So I
Okay,
think
yeah.
it's like a new era of rock, new classic rock, but it's or rock and roll for the modern age. So
I like that.
yeah, these are all the cool terms that are being used right now. So I think it's starting to catch on. I'm seeing a lot more websites pop up and Facebook pages that I belong to. And there's a lot of new bands that are sounding like that, like what we're doing. And, we have our own take on it, but there are other bands that have the classic roots like that, which, people are kind of like really looking for. They're looking for something that has what they grew up on, but maybe a new take on it. Another thing too is like when I set out to start writing songs and I brought it to Brian, I wanted to create something I didn't hear a lot of out there. I'm like,
Sure.
man, I don't hear this anymore. So what's the best thing that you can do if you're a singer-songwriter is to make it yourself,
Right.
what you're trying to find out there. So that's how it all kind of like got influenced for me.
No, it's a solid answer. My last question for you guys is basically for the person that is going to discover you from this, what is an opening message that you'd like to say to them before they listen to your music for the first time?
Let's dance. That's what I would say.
He did put that on our
I did
social
put that. I
media.
did put that on our spot.
Nice.
It's time to dance again. Make
Boom.
America dance again. How about that?
There you go. I like that a lot.
And I'll add one on top of it.
Sure.
Let's let America rock out to the classic stuff that we grew up on again.
Nice.
No,
I think
bring
that's
back classic rock. Yeah.
that's what listeners can fully expect right there. Brian and Scott, I want to thank you so much for taking the time. This has been great. Please let me plug your music for you one more time. The song is called Dirty, Filthy, Crazy, and we will have links in the article so that people can listen and share and follow along. And it sounds like there's a ton more coming, so keep your eyes peeled. I'm personally excited because I love this sound. It's literally like what my parents raised me on, but in a modern age. So I'm excited to see what happens.
Yeah,
Thank you guys so much.
Just a quick plug for us. Hit us up on
Sure.
social, Instagram, TikTok, at Lola Vain Band, Spotify, all your favorites, and subscribe to our YouTube channel for
Yeah, there you go. We're
so-
trying to bring up that subscribe is like, we're getting a lot of views in there, and people are hitting us up from other areas on the social media. So we're trying to get everybody to get to the YouTube and make comments there or subscribe there instead of on Facebook or social media, other avenues.
Totally. Awesome. Well, you heard it. Go to YouTube, subscribe. Awesome. Thank you guys so much. I hope you have an amazing rest of your day and a great weekend.
Thank you for the opportunity on your podcast here.
You're very welcome. Talk to you guys later.
Been awesome. Thanks, Austin.
All right. Take care. Bye bye.
Later.